And so I did a simple little drawing. You can picture it because I'm not going to draw right now. And it was just learning. We're learning, all of us are learning how to tap into that higher space that's within us. It's not far away. It's right here. It's right within us. We're being reintroduced to ourselves. And then what we've created in the worlds we see that was obviously from a lower space. People call it an illusion, or it's not real, or it's a dream, or whatever. We know that we're looking around, and we know that a God that's good did not create this, right? It had to be from a darkened mind or a confused mind. And so what I drew out was we live from the sense reason world when we live from that space. So I put the word sense right here, which your senses, they say we have like 22 actually. We go by, 5? But it's what you see, feel, hear, taste, and touch. It's what you're experiencing in this physical world, how things are affecting you. That's part of our humanity. And then I put therefore, and then the reason, okay? The reasoning is your mind. It's not that the mind is bad, but if we live by just that energy, it's going to keep us tethered to this reality, the reality that we keep creating in our lives and the culture and all that. And so I'll give you an example. Here's the senses, the sensual, what I'm experiencing as a human, okay? I feel cold, therefore, and then I go into reasoning, which I need a blanket, okay? That's like an engine. It's like it has energy behind it. I already have the answer because I perceive or I feel cold, therefore I need a blanket. I am a woman that was, abused, therefore I have the right to be this, I am an American, therefore I do, okay? And it's all these cycles come from that keep us tethered to this reality is I sense in my humanity, therefore, and I move into the answer from the same level of what I'm feeling. And what we're learning, all of us, is that our thoughts and our emotions have been manipulated. They didn't all just originate. They came from culture, they came from experience, they came from things that happened to us, right? And so we can be in the sense world and say, I sense or I feel this about myself, therefore I am this. Here's religion. I sense that I have these issues. They're dark, they're secrets, I'm full of shame. Therefore, I'm rejected. I'm evil. I'm, or whatever. And that's how religion was created. From staying in that one engine, that one power. So what we're learning to do is neutrality is a key to experience, because we're experiencing our humanity. We are we are God in essence, in form in this earth. Some of the things you're experiencing is because of what happened to you, is because of culture, is the year you were born. If you were born 100 years ago, your experiences would be different. But you're not your experiences. You, the essence of who you are, is not the sum of your experiences. That's the lie, right? And so what we're learning to do is, without any judgment, no matter what you feel, however wicked you were told it is, okay, you catch yourself in the therefore. You don't define the I am from reasoning, okay? I can't get rid of this one issue, therefore I'm a pervert. Well, is the essence of God a pervert? Is the essence of God twisted and dark and full of anger and hate, okay? So you may be feeling that as a human, as in this being, but when you learn to become neutral and not judge it, right, and just observe, you can catch it and go deeper within and begin to meet who you truly are. Everything comes down to that, you guys. When I begin to meet who I truly am, and I just begin to just let that expand, all of the things that I thought I was, all the hang-ups that I'm working on, it begins to dissipate. All of it. But the key in it, when you're judging, when you go into the therefore and the reasoning, it keeps you in a cycle and you can never see. And we're not talking about heaven far away. We're talking about you can't see you. You don't know you. Because in my pride, I'm like, I feel scared, therefore, I'm going to do this. And so thus my reality. And that engine, that level of energy keeps me in a reality that's a very low level. So as we're catching it, right there, oh man, I feel this. It's ugly. I wish I didn't feel it, whatever. I feel it. I'm observing it. I don't even have to start asking where it came from. We've built this whole system in Christianity and counseling and all this. Then we start getting on a witch hunt. Where'd it come from? Well, I feel this way. Therefore, it came from my dad because he was also the biggest jerk, or whatever. You can just observe. And then you allow yourself to go deeper within. You are being redefined. That's what it means to be rebirthed. You're experiencing the new you again and again and again and again. So I wanted to start with that, just kind of remind us, because it helps me with visuals, because it's an automatic thing. When you have patterns in your life, before you realize it subconsciously, you've already decided where that pattern came from, why it's there, and then you're working on the pattern, and guess what? When you're working on the pattern, it empowers the pattern. I'm not saying if you're driving people off the road all the time, like go ahead and work on that one, stop some of that, okay? But you don't even have to go to the root system in all of it. That is, Kirby said it at his conference, that the PTSD and the trauma and all of it's real, but it's become a whole system. And it makes a ton of money to keep you in where it came from. And I told you, I'm like, if all that God is for me to heal my childhood, it's a pretty small God. Probably I'm not understanding that I've already been whole, that I'm already the essence of God because I'm in that system. And kudos to you. Most of us, for me, I have to go down a few roads and hit those blocks. But I promise you, if you catch yourself in the therefore and you allow yourself to go deeper within and begin to meet the truth of who you are, that stuff is going to come up. It starts pushing that stuff up anyway. Right? So I want to just touch on thoughts on a thought. There's two ways I would see thoughts, okay? Thoughts that form an opinion. What's the key word there? Form, okay? That thoughts form opinions, decisions, and judgments. That's the therefore, okay? As soon as I form something, that is an image. It's a construct. It blocks you in. As soon as I form an opinion, the person that you have an opinion on, that's how they are. You formed that around them, and you will not see them any other way because you've formed the image. That's the neutrality, but you begin to say, I don't even know. Sometimes you're just like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. If you're going to really experience, like beyond the form, you've got to get to that space. So thoughts, and then guess what? When a thought in my life forms the opinion or the judgment or the decision, all my experiences are going to come through that. All of them. This is the reality that you're experiencing. It is coming from the forms of your thoughts that came into judgment. We thought somewhere in Christianity that judgment just meant, I hate that girl, she's a burr. That's not judgment. Judgment is good and bad. Judgment is building a form, a decision around something. That's how it is, okay? And we're going to look at some stuff in a minute that we can never get to truth from that space. You're never going to get your doctrine right. You're never going to walk in the right place. You're never going to understand healing, any of it, because it's the same level energy of what you're operating from. Does that make sense? You're literally going into circles. So my reality is all coming in this, when I'm stuck in this reality, this, world of form comes from what I formed about it. And I'll never forget, we would, I would be out like doing the concession and getting everything set up or whatever, and we'd have these incredible camp services. And I mean, you're giving your life all months, and we've been fasting and praying and decorating and doing this, and you just want kids to get set free. I just had the mentality, if they got around the presence of God, it was over. And that's why Xavier was snotty, turned upside down, and just freedom, right? So I'm out there, and I would miss a few services. So I go in, I ask one person, how'd it go? And they'd be like, oh, it was a disaster. And they start telling you what went on in the room. And then you're like, oh my God, I just gave my life to a disaster. You know what I mean? Like, dang it. Or another person would tell you what went on like that. And there'd always be this one person that could perceive. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand because she was there to observe, but she could perceive what was happening. That's when you get to a space that no matter what it feels like, you're observing what it feels like. It's okay that you're really afraid and there's really not a monster. You don't have to judge yourself for that, right? You really are afraid and there's really not a monster. You don't have to judge it. But that same neutral space is what causes you to see beyond the monster and beyond the fear. Does that make sense? And so then this person would tell me, and they would be like, man, this is what God did. And I saw this, and they were able to see different. So what you realize is, as I'm asking, okay, show me where I have formed thoughts and locked myself in or locked others into. That's how it is. Now just think about it. Think about our doctrine. We have wanted to form. I want to be correct. I'm going to give my life and study to be correct, right? And then there's at the end of it, you just realize you can't get there from there. Now you can get knowledge and you can get understanding, but it's a door still to go beyond. It's a door to go beyond. So I'm going to show you guys a little video. I'm going to act like I am really technological, and I'm going to show you a video. When I was looking at a spider, and all throughout culture and literature and things like that, what spiders represent. Spiders can represent curiosity, they fear, illusion, different things like this. But what we know is a spider spends a lot of time weaving a web, okay? So we're going to watch this for a minute. But the one thing that they say that spiders represent consistently is creation. So we're talking about the creation of my thoughts that keep me tethered to a false reality, okay? If you can't read it, just kind of get where you can see it. Just think of it being your thoughts. Don't get curious about the spider. Or collectively, thoughts in a culture. There's whole cultures that women have no rights still. This is years of your life, your grandparents' life, their grandparents' life, years of experience being woven into your thoughts. So think about this. The reason, this is why I'm going to hammer it, I hammer it in my own life, practice being neutral and being an observer, is because they were already formed, and they were formed through your experiences. You know what I'm saying? And when you learn to observe it and not judge it, then you can go to a deeper space that's way bigger than this. So here, this is just entertain me, you guys, just entertain me. This is somebody that, I don't know how to rewind it. Okay, we all went through years of deliverance and stuff. Even the man, and Darren did really well teaching on this, the guy that was in the tombs and he was cutting himself and he was how long and, don't cast us. And he was tormented and Jesus delivered him basically. But then it says he was clothed and in his right mind. And the division and what we call demons or energy or whatever, the division came and began in thoughts. Okay, so here's a picture of that. This is what's going on inside your mind. Relate to that going on inside of you. And we fight it and we fight it and and it's going on. It's empowered by your thoughts and culture's thoughts. This is somebody that's given they've been given over to it. When committing suicide, depression, darkness, we don't get out of bed for days, right? We're all like, amen. Just kidding. So when I was thinking on this, now you guys remember, I go over this in my mind. I draw pictures, okay? Because I'm also communicating to my body and mind what I'm sensing in here. Like how do you, even when I've been nervous all day. I'm not nervous to stand in front of you guys. It's this nerve, like a nerve inside my body on how do you communicate what you see? How do you articulate it? Because it's beyond words, right? And we try to get people to move into it from that same level. So I begin to visualize, and I remember I text the girls, I'm like, what is that movie where the big spider curls you up, So these thoughts, they could seem, you're not going to get to the end of it is what I'm trying to tell you. They've been meticulously done, but there's a deeper space that's within you that's beyond all thought because that's attached to this reality. Okay? Now, thoughts are used. It's not that they're evil. So if I all of a sudden hear in spirit, it's broken, you need surgery. I heard it. I didn't hear a doctor say it. I heard it in here. So I'm taking my child to go, okay? I'm very thankful that doctor has activated his reasoning in this reality to do the surgery. Okay, so what I picture is this river. There's a river in us. There's a river of life. There's something that's moving us forward, and it's endless. It's eternal. It's God. Okay, and thoughts being more like a creek that's on the top of the soil and the elements of the earth. So they're what do you call it when there's trash and stuff in it? And there's stuff all in it like that. Like it's, and so the thoughts can serve the river. So your greater being, that life of who you are, your thought life is made to be a servant of the truth of who you are. So you learn what you learn and you get your doctorates and you do your study and you break into it and you use your mind, okay? But then you're learning to operate from a deeper space, and that creek can join that fresh water and move your life forward. So, it's not in the sense of looking at it, and Xavier and I were kind of hashing this out a little bit because we still in this, if you're thinking about it in this reality, you still think, oh no, that's evil. You don't have a thought. It's this or that. It's not this or that. And what I want to talk about tonight is who you really are is one thing. You're not just what you see, feel, hear, taste, and touch. You're not just what you think, and we are moving past that. We're beginning to see who we are in spirit, if you will, or the Christ you, the eternal you, or some of you even have memories of lives that you've lived before. What that means, I'm not going to define it for you, but we can't deny that people have had experience after experience after experience on different levels, on different planes. The more we're tapping into that river, that eternal thing, the more it's coming up. And your thoughts, the web, will try to keep you tethered and keep you in one reality. But the more you're tapping into your higher self, if you will, or the Christ self, or your light self, the truth of who you are, it becomes nothing, you guys. And so what we're all about, continually all about, whichever angle we can go do, whatever practice we can do, is tapping into that space and just let that power, that strength, that eternal presence begin to push everything else out. Of course you're going to manifest in this reality. This is the reality we're living in. But we have to, the struggle that we live in as we're fighting things, that's the part you got to go like this. Because you're literally reaffirming that it's real. And there's spaces I get in. How many of you guys have been? I know you guys have been in spaces. And all of a sudden you go, this isn't even real. It's real in this reality. But the reason that, here Jesus, Yeshua, walked around healing people is it wasn't in his reality. Death wasn't there. Oh, let me just bring you into my reality. So on this side of it, we're like, it's a miracle. The miracle came from heaven. Did you see? But he's just bringing them into a higher reality. It's the truth of who you are. It's the truth of who you always were. And we're remembering. We're waking up. We're realizing. So I talked about this one time, and I just want to hone in on this. And if any of you guys want these notes emailed to you, it's just good. We're going to stay on this for a while. You guys remember when I talked about the Merkaba? Tetrahedron. I have a hard time saying that one. So the Merkaba is a word from ancient Egypt. Then it was later used in the, Hebrew, okay? These notes are great if you guys want them, okay? So the word Mer is made up of several words. Let me just read this to you, okay? It means light, spirit, body. It's the energy sphere in which everything exists. It's an electromagnet energy field that surrounds your body. It's the vehicle that carries you to the dimensions of unity, love, and the things that exist, planes that exist beyond your mind. Okay? People want to go into realms, but the way we've been trained to still think in the Christian world is that realms are out there. Okay, but it's not. It's all right here. See, people, even the teaching. I mean, there's a movie that we watched, and you're experiencing all these different multiverses and things like that. But you're still experiencing it on different planes in you, not necessarily just in this part of your body. Okay, the Merkaba that carries you. Okay, is in actuality is everything that surrounds us. It's an integral element of energy that envelops the universe. It is the multi-dimensional vehicle, listen to that, multi-dimensional vehicle that our consciousness resides in and from which we draw physical, emotional, and mental and spiritual energy. So it's a space that's beyond thought. It's a space that you already carry that we hadn't been introduced to, that the separation, that the thoughts, when our minds were manipulated, the separation came. And that's all we began to experience then, what we were thinking and what we were creating, okay? And we forgot, or we were blind to the rest of truly who I am. Okay, and then I define myself with an opinion. Like I said last week, I'm sorry that you think that you're this, and this. Like I was talking to a girl that was staying here. She's one of our dear friends, and she's a lesbian. And I said, you know what? I don't identify as a heterosexual. I used to think I was a conservative Christian woman that had these views, but I'm none of that. Those are all opinions formed around my life. I'm the essence of God in form, and guess what? The form changes. So as soon as you say, I want to be this, or I am this, or I identify with this group, you quit being fluid. Your opinion formed the construct. The other night I was in an encounter, and I could see, you guys know what honeycombs look like? And we had just watched a video with Joni on honeycombs and bees, because I went and I bought these little honeycombs at the store, and I was going to show Joni these honeycombs. And so we're watching this little documentary on YouTube. And in it, they were eating the honeycomb, and these bees are going in each one. So I have this encounter, and I'm going in each of these little honeycombs, and the people that were stuck in those, they couldn't see out. That was their complete reality. That was it. And there was so much more going on. And so in this encounter, I'm going in and all I'm doing is bringing them out of that reality. Now, they could crawl into another one and stop there. And we do that. And maybe you're happy there for 20 years, a new reality. It's a higher space, okay? But you are fluid. You are fluid. You're meant to flow. You are spirit. You are, so you're going to experience one form, and it's beautiful. I love to experience my humanity. I can't wait. We laugh together. We eat together. We smell together, whatever. We do all these things together, okay? But that's just one form. If I stop there and I identify just as that, that's it. And I'm the one that created that. So it's made up of 3 words, myrrh, which came from ancient Egypt, okay? It means light that rotates within itself. It's also an Egyptian word for pyramid. So you see the shape of the pyramid. They understood energy. They understood flow, okay? They built pyramids. It's amazing when you begin to study the pyramids. So the word ka refers to the human spirit. This is what they believed and what they taught. And the word ba is the physical human form. This being you. Like literally, we'll watch it spin here in a minute, okay? So get this, you guys. It's in Scripture 44 times in the Old Testament. It's also, when it crossed over into Hebrew, they called this the throne of God. They also called it the chariot. So when Ezekiel saw the chariot, he's describing the will within the will. He's describing what he saw. He was seeing outside this one form. And the chariot's here to take you away. And you're the chariot. There's a throne of God that we get to go and just, we thought we were going to be up in heaven, just walking around, surrounding the throne. I'm just so tired, whatever. But the throne of God is you. You're the throne of God. These are terms that we use. Man, it separated you. And then the only way that man can have control over each other, we do it. I did it with my children. I taught them virtues because this is the construct of how you be a Christian. So I'm teaching them virtues, not because I was evil. It's because I was in that little honeycomb is all I could see, right? I didn't know to teach them that, man, if you can tap into the truth of who you are, which is the essence of God in form, you are going to have virtue. You're going to have all the characteristics that we spanked you and tried to teach you to do, or loved you and tried to, or spent endless hours, oh my God, trying to teach you to do. You are not a liar. You are the essence of God in form. And once we begin to tap into that, everything else falls off, man. It's fun. It's meant to be fun. Oh my God, we've beaten ourselves into a position, into that little honeycomb, and we knew we were never supposed to be in it. And I'll speak for me. You can tell me if I'm speaking for you. In Breakfast Club, I don't even know your language. We've been afraid to come out of that construct. I'm telling you, in the last few years, the voice of your parents and things like that, but the voice of the construct, and honestly, it was probably Darren's voice in the early years because we grew out of a lot of it, but the voice that was always in my head. So then all of a sudden I'm governing and I'm just going to sit with myself because I've been learning the neutrality part for a while. And so I'm just sitting there and there's something going on right next to me and I'm like, do I want to do that? I'm just going to see. I'm not going to say, no, you're not supposed to do that, right? And that's how we even learn to be self-governed. But I didn't even realize how I was still serving that image, that voice, what was written. It is written, And it's not until you lose the fear of yourself just to go, man, if I just flow, what'll happen? Well, what'll happen is, heaven expands in earth and people's lives get changed. And you can't be afraid of your own, what you're capable of, right? And I know people, we've jacked each other up. I know we've hurt each other. I know people get all free and then they hurt a bunch of people. And so then you try to keep yourself in that. But there's a level when you're at the throne, when you're experiencing your truest self, where fear has to go. And you begin to let that flow. And this is where I keep going back to. I know you guys probably you hear it all the time from me. The flowers know how to grow. You're right now, your heart knows how to beat. Your lungs know how to breathe. The stars know how to shine. Everything, there's a harmony that's happening. This, You're already part of the harmony. But we began to be energized from the web of thoughts that kept us out of the harmony. Thus all our pain, thus all our sickness, thus all the distortion from the whole. Crazy, all of it, y'all. So the throne of God 44,000 times. There's a truth realm in me, in my light body, outside of just the sense and reason. There's a truth realm. That word truth in Aramaic is sharara. It means divine reality. There's a divine reality already in me. I don't have to find the answer. I already am. I don't have to search it out. When I'm searching, that's okay. I'm in it, but I'm positioning, and then all of a sudden, there's my answer. And I can't tell you how many times I would feel it here, and I would dismiss it because it didn't match what I'm experiencing here, and I didn't know how to, you know what I mean? And then you just kind of push it down, and then realities are created. Realities are created. So as long as I'm just operating from part of my being, this sense realm, this sense reason, I can never find truth. Because truth is, like I just said, a divine reality. You can't be in one reality and define or know another one. You've got to tap into that reality. It's like somebody, did you used to be a travel agent? Is that what you used to be? Yes. But you also, how much more would you want a travel agent telling you about where to go in Dubai than someone that's never been there and you know what I'm saying? You don't know until you're there. You're not experiencing it until you're there. And so how many times in my life am I just repeating something that really is already there? They would take this symbol and meditate on it. And you can do it. Pull it up on they operate in two different ways. It's the feminine and the masculine within you. It's perfect harmony already. It's two energies that are flowing around encased in light. It's heaven, it's Shemaiah, it's the glory, it's the presence, it's the creation, it's the harmony that's already there. Okay? We were duped, so we're trying to bring all of that into this space without even knowing that space. Right? And then in us being duped, there was a distance created between us and what was whole. And to do this and shift our mindset, because we're still watching something and we're in need of, which is the whole reason he said he had to leave the earth, because they were looking to the form. And we still look to the form. We look to a form of truth. We look to the form of what Jesus was or what Christianity or whatever it is, okay? And he said, I have to go so that you can see that within you is the form, is everything that you need. And so just that simple thing that it's you. And you're like, I don't know how to get there from here. Everything seems so distant to me. All I can feel is what I'm feeling, and this is my reality. That's okay that that's your reality, but if you can be neutral and not make a decision in it, and go to that space, and we're here to be introduced to the truth of who we are. That's what we're here to do, and then to allow that to expand and manifest here. It's not just about manifesting here in the earth. That's going to cause other people to come. To begin to awaken them and cause them to realize who they are. But it's not just about getting it done. It's about you seeing. We have an opportunity within time and space to know who we are, to be in the throne of God, to experience the truth of everything that we were meant to be. Man, we hate being lied to, but that's all of our thoughts are describing a reality that's not even real. So within you, it's the feminine and the masculine. It's a perfect balance. As with all of creation, it's the cosmos and the earth. The balancing energies represent protection, the light around the body, which transports one's awareness to higher dimensions. This is how you travel. So even, guys, I don't know. I know there's all different teachings on reincarnation and things like that. It's not even something I care to define, okay? But without a doubt, when you begin to experience a reality that's fluid, you're going to experience other people's consciousness. It's the same thing. It's like when you walk up to someone and you can feel what they're feeling. It's the same thing in living in different planes or different lives, if you will, because it's that same space. Does that make sense? So I'll give you a few in case you want some of these. So when Jesus was here in the earth, he operated from his light body, his higher self. To the degree when he's walking on the water, they're like, oh my God, it's a ghost. They didn't recognize him. Okay? There were several things that would happen like that they would only, of course they saw it as magic or supernatural because they weren't introduced to their self. And the whole point is he was telling them it's who you are. It wasn't follow me, this is who I am, don't make me separate as a God. It was you're the throne of God. You're the throne of God. So Mary, you guys remember, which that was afterwards. After he died, and now there's discrepancy. I mean, you can, whatever, but a lot of people believe, a lot of the teaching from the East don't believe that he physically was raised from the dead. We weren't even able to think like that. We would be like, but they saw him. But he's not just physical. I'm not telling you what to believe. But the fluid you is you. They described it as a ghost. 500 saw him after he died. Like, we saw him. But all they knew is that it's going to be a concrete. That's all they knew was form. And so then all these years, we're just after the form. But we miss the higher space. It's not that that we don't want to bring form to it and it bring form in the earth, but I can tell you something, all form changes. If you can discern, the form is fluid. And then there's that. And then there's the miracle or whatever people were saying. Does that make sense? So that's the picture that it doesn't matter if it happens or not. I know, I live in a different reality. And then it happens, and you're not even high-fiving about the fact that they fed those people. They were hungry again. The people that he healed, they got sick again and died. All form is temporal, and it changes. So that's not the end all. The end all is the maturity, the understanding of who I am. That's what we're here to do. Like, we were planted in this form to grow. When he said, I think in Matthew, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect, right? That word perfect is gamir. It means to be all-inclusive. It means not to be separate. It means to be mature. It means to be perfect, understand your whole being the same way that all the cosmos is within God and is part of God, is part of the dance. That's what it means to be perfect. It's not about morality and what you do in this space. It's to understand maturity whenever the son gets the keys to the car. The son, everyone's like the sons of God in the earth. We understood that was Jewish language, and they raise up the son, and he now rules as the father, and he's a mature son. We understand that. That was from the Jewish culture. Now we're all sons, right? We say that. But to be perfect, we miss the point that it's not just about the son governing the whole of who you are. Manifestation is just automatic. How can I not manifest? The stars know how to shine. The plants know how to grow. The more I realize the truth of who I am, when I become mature and perfected, it's in realization. So let's see. It means all embracing, inclusive, fully realized, to know yourself. This guy said it's the cosmic dance to be perfect. So when it says to be all-inclusive, to understand who you are, all of you, to be introduced to all of you and bring it all in, to operate from the whole being means to be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. That word heaven, remember, it's Shemaiah. Shem being name, light, essence. That's everywhere. Be all-inclusive, the same way heaven, if you will, or light, or essence, or frequency is everywhere. As your heavenly Father. That word Father, it wasn't male or female. It's the one that birthed you. It's the picture, like we were talking about earlier, of fractals. It's the picture of expansion. Boom. It was a sound like, Allah. It's a realization. It's also a sound of breathing and something's happening. It's not just Allah, God that is everywhere. All of a sudden there's an expansion up, like breath coming out. Allah, God is expanding, and that ooh sound in Aramaic is you're being carried. You weren't once created, you're being created. Boom. The n sound is form. That's what it represented, was form. So the more I realize, the more I come into perfection, the more that I come into Gamir is the more that I realize my whole self. the truth of me, the divine reality. Just like the Shem, the name, the famous, that word means fame. I love that. Remember that song, the famous one? Shem, the fame, the reputation that's everywhere. So I begin to be fully God, like in fractal form, the expansion. From that space, from this space of realization, the abun, like a father, I begin to expand. From the sense reason realm, I'm creating and I'm still, that's why it was talking about that trees bear fruit after its own kind. We're eating the fruit that we bore. We're eating the fruit that we bore. And then we're fighting against it. And that's okay. Let's just ignore that thing altogether. It's going to feel like in your mind that you're being passive to get on this path. Okay? But it's just like, I didn't know. You're going to look in the mirror and be like, was Christ not among us? Let's look at this.
So it's already yours. But the thing is that all of us have it. Mm-hmm. That's why when you, I have to stand.
We want you to, come on.
That's why when you say, who am I? I'm not this. I'm at least all of these. I mean, when you hug me, and when we're sitting down, I'm hugging all them three. Mm-hmm. Because that's the light.
Yep.
And now with quantum physics, we know that we only see
1%. Yeah.
So all of these that I am, you're not looking at it.
Right.
Am I.
Yeah.
And which is that. Really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's, and we have all these waves that come in, and that's why you can sense a person without even talking, or just sense it, and you know who you like and you know who you don't like. And it's because we're all light.
Yeah.
That's who we are. Mm-hmm. And when we really get to know that, then you, like Sheila, she flows. Because that's it. That's the thing. You get to know that. I'm sorry.
No, I want you to. Please. The part that's in a good way hurting me, I'm not saying I'm beating myself up, is it's been incredibly arrogant of me to live in the kingdom of thought. And to, even when I knew, because listen, the more you begin to sense this, if certain thoughts just make you feel sick, I used to get so nervous about certain things, like fear, I would just have diarrhea right away. Like if you told me something, it's just going right. So your body responds, your emotions, your nervous system responds, okay? So that obviously isn't a peaceful thing. I'm reacting to a lie. My whole body's telling me. And when we look back at things that we've said or we've built or whatever, now that we're being more introduced to our truer self, our deepest self or whatever, we're realizing that there was that in us. It could have been a little bit. You know what I mean? You don't want to admit it. I thought this was God. And the thing is this is, in our world, you can want something and get 1,000 signs that it's God. You're going to get dreams. It's going to be confirmations. It's going to be like people, this has to be God, If you have to have those days are over. External, I like them in my life because you're just like, am I doing this right or whatever? And then you get a little bit. But I can't follow them anymore. They've led me too far astray because my desires, my thoughts were too entangled in this reality. So I thought this should happen and this happened and dang, that hurt bad. But it hurt because I was so attached to what I thought should happen. So in my attachment, it's kept me blind to the true reality. Does that make sense? So when a loved one passes, man, God, they're being used to open this up. We can communicate. It's different. I understand. But no, the pain in my life, my thoughts, is going to keep me tethered. That is death. The picture of being caught in that web is death. We don't want to get rid of it's not about getting rid of the web. It's about going into that thing that begins to dissolve it. It's not even there. It doesn't even have a strength over you. This is why, I didn't always do this, but I run into areas that I dread because I want to check it in here. I have this thing, this body, this avatar that tells me if there's a in me. And so, but I had to become the observer without judgment. I had to become neutral. Because if not, I would just push myself. You should do it. You're working on this. And it was just exhausting, right? And so once I get neutral, I just observe. I'm like, oh, there it is. And I'm not even saying, I'm feel, anxiety because that person's so controlling. Okay? Well, that's still part of the illusion. Nobody can cause me to feel uneasy. I can be in peace in all situations. I am light. I am love. I am the essence of God in form. So put me in every situation so until I can manifest first peace in who I am there. And I'm seeing these areas in my life where I'm still fighting against something. It's a memory that was formed. It's not even real now. But my fight is keeping it alive. It's me. I found the devil. It's me. And I found God. It's me. It's me.
How many people in this room are being bombarded with what she's saying? I mean, do you feel like that God's really trying to reveal these truths to you? Because for me, it's getting more and more intense.
Yeah.
As time goes on, everywhere I look, every book I read, every movie I watch,
yeah,
it's all trying to help me to know and understand who I am.
Yeah.
Buddy, you got so much more coming. It's going to be so much more intense. You're going to be like, dude, slow down, God. Oh my gosh, I need a break.
It's crazy. I watch a movie and I'm like elbowing her, see, and I pick up a book or watch just in conversations with people. It's just.
And then trying to filter what's something she had said to me before. Just don't take it all to heart. These are my words, of course. Don't take it all to heart. Just listen, take each one, and then what speaks to your spirit. Well, I always started learning what's speaking to my spirit, going, oh my gosh, that makes so much more sense. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Oh, that's crazy. But then sometimes I come back to the crazy and go, hey, I understand now.
Mm-hmm.
So you got so much more coming.
But you're describing the awakening, and that's what Breck was saying earlier. It's happening faster, and it does feel lonely because all of a sudden you're picking up on things no one around you knows what you're talking about, and you're in it. You're in it, and you want to be in it. There's a reason he said, "Who is my mother? Who is my brother?" There's a reason that there's a natural love. There's a natural affection that keeps you. You move into, I love this person, therefore, and then you diagnose it in your reasoning. Okay? Your child, it's whenever Chance was in the car wreck. Okay? We get the phone call. We think he's dead. They're panicking. They're screaming. By this time, Darren's only going to live by a level of peace. He hangs the phone up and sits there. No response. That's the neutrality. No response. We go to sleep. Our girls were mad at us the next morning. You know what I mean? No response. That neutrality will also cause you to have no response. And the loved ones are the toughest ones, especially somebody in need. This is what Christians are supposed to do. We serve those in need, okay? But we miss the window because we're doing all these things that we're supposed to do because we went, this is happening, therefore. And I've done it a ton. Is what was cool when we were watching that. Then we ate the honeycomb, that's it. Every construct, you just eat it. But let's look at some of these words that we've created. I know all we have is our English language, or some of you are bilingual, but they're forms. Okay, so a word, as soon as I say it, it's a level away from what I am even seeing and what I'm experiencing, right? So look at these words that we use. I traveled in the Spirit. Because we're still thinking here or there. But you're experiencing it. So if I traveled through time, is there time? Or is time part of the construct? Right? So, the only reason I think like this, not the only reason, but the reason I get so excited is I realize it's all here, baby.